Hey guys, and welcome to episode 11. In this episode, I talk with Laul, who is a personal trainer and one of the directors from Wellfinity, a wellness consultancy company and main sponsors of my show. In this episode, we talk about hidden disabilities, what it takes to be someone who works in their wellness sector, and what is Wellfinity all about. Enjoy. First time I'm using this, Ash did mention it probably last year. Then I had a long break, kind of decide how am I going to go about doing all this, and then here we are. Just crossed that this all works well. We've never actually met, so it's really cool to get to know more about Wellfinity and what you do. So for the listeners that don't know you, if you could let them know who you are and what you do.
Okay, so we're going with my name. So I'm Laul. I'm a personal trainer, wellness director, swim coach. I'm a jack of all trades, basically.
Oh, wow. And what is Wellfinity then? Because you're a director, aren't you?
Yes, I'm the corporate wellness side of things. So essentially, it involves us collaborating with other brands that make a positive impact on people's lives. So most wellness brands that you can think of, it doesn't have to be large brands, it can be small brands. And my role basically is to connect the brands with the individuals that, there is their brainchild that thought them up. And they're exceptional, they have passion for what they do, and they want to influence people's lives positively. So we strive to introduce them to the corporate world because many corporates, their hours are kind of like 9 to 5, they're stuck in an office or stuck behind a desk, and they don't really have time to access what we offer them. So they don't know how to find a nutritionist or a chiropractor or an osteopath. So we try to create the opportunities to bridge the gap so they can experience it in the workplace and connect with the people that would benefit them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when did it all begin? Because I only found about Wellfinity. When did I meet Ash? I met Ash in 20, I don't know, it must have been 4 years ago, I think. It must have been then. So so how did it all begin then? Because I can imagine, was it always going to be called Wellfinity, or did you meet Ash?
I met Ash before I think he started Wellfinity because I worked with him at Virgin Active. I was the swim coach. He was the sales extraordinaire manager. And then he dropped off the radar for a while and created Wellfinity. And it's his little baby, his project. And it was mainly to, enrich people's lives in the corporate world, but inspire companies to build cultures around wellness and well-being for their employees, for the benefit of their employees, because then it would benefit their business. If you've got a happy employee, it would benefit the business because they would give more, they would understand more, they'd want to do more, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
I was going to say, I find that a lot more corporates are now looking that way, especially after the pandemic. Post-pandemic, it's a lot more about wellness and well-being, working from home. Do the hours work better from home? Do you want to split? It's more about the employee's well-being than just what they can offer as a work bee.
Right, how long have you guys been doing this now then? Wellness, events and stuff like that?
I've co-piloted with Ash since I think 2019, give or take. And then obviously pandemic hit. And
And so what was that like when the pandemic hit? Because basically everyone was stuck indoors technically. So how did you guys get around that then? Because I guess where a situation like that happens, and there's also an opportunity as well.
Because it was a business it's a service business, for companies. So they focus on growing your business, but it's not just that. It is the well-being of the company, of the employees, of the CEOs, the directors, of everyone, not just the big guy and not just the little guy.
And why are you so passionate about Wellfinity?
Because I'm passionate about helping people and educating people, not just kind of doing it for them. For me, it stems from empowering people. So wanting people to understand what they can do for themselves, what resources there are for themselves, and arming them with that knowledge. Because, anyone can go in and tell you what to do and how to do it and how to live your life and how to get from A to B. But if you don't give people the tools to be able to do that, they're always going to be dependent on someone else. And like when the pandemic happened, they didn't have always someone else to do that for them. It was a lot of inward reflection for most people during the pandemic.
When the pandemic hit and everyone's stuck indoors, there's also an opportunity from that as well. So what did you guys do during that time then?
Um, we've done a lot of inward, like in-house stuff to see what we could do to improve it once we'd come out of the pandemic, because where the companies were, we were advising companies on what they could do best at home to help with the transition of doing that. But it was generally just in-house stuff, trying to make sure that when we come out of the pandemic, we had the best services to offer, that we got in there with, obviously, because you didn't expect to go into a pandemic. So we wanted to make sure that, if people work from home, they still have the services that they need and want and require from their HR, their employee teams, their relations teams. So a lot of it through the pandemic was more of an in-house, what can we do now after this passes, what can we do to actually enrich everyone and make it better for them? Obviously, there was not a
Brilliant.
lot of working with every single company because most companies were shut down. But
Yeah, yes,
it
yeah.
was taking on, obviously, the people that we were still in communication with to advise them and guide them the best we knew, because we didn't know, the same as the rest of the country. But from that, the lessons we could learn of how can we make it better if people, do get stuck at home or do have to work from home for whatever reasons, how we can benefit them, not just from the office, but also from the work from home experience as well. That's where
Yeah,
the
because in
corporate
my
wellness come from.
yeah, and when the pandemic hit, the last place that I worked in, we were just doing like webinars and talks like that. This is a lot of online stuff. Is it?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what you guys did as well. Is just lots of talks and stuff like that online?
Yep, 100%. So Zoom was a very big thing for most people, um, but it also connected you with people, and you weren't so isolated. Especially for those, I was fortunate. I was at home with my family, my parents. I moved back just before the pandemic, and I wasn't alone. I had the big garden that's behind me. I was outside most of the time, but I suppose for those that lived in an apartment or a flat on their own and they had to be in lockdown on their own in their house, it's a very not it's physically draining because it mentally drains you, and you don't have that. As much as people are solitary or introverts, you need human connection. And I think with the webinars and the talks and just people having a chat, the amount of lockdown things that were on, like Zoom calls on TV, so people could just connect with everyone they knew. You probably spoke to people you knew more over lockdown than you do day to day when we wasn't in lockdown.
Because people are doing like quizzes, like weekly quizzes and games, like through Zoom. And
Hmm.
to be fair, it worked. It was so much fun. It was
Oh,
so much fun.
100%.
And how did you deal with it then? Because everyone deals with certain situations their own way. So how did you find it, like the lockdown and
Uh,
everything? And were you a online coach during that time as well?
no, I
Like when did that
wasn't.
start?
No, I was a face-to-face human. So the online started during the pandemic because I worked for a gym, and obviously I was delivering
Yeah,
face-to-face classes. I was doing swimming. I'm really fortunate. I'm really glad that I think maybe say how long ago, let's say a few years back when I got my PT qualification, um, I only done it because my swim clients wanted me to train them on land as well, not just in the water. So that's where because I've been a swim coach since I was 16.
oh wow.
Yes, but we don't need to say how long that is. And then my clients were doing triathlons and they wanted me to do the land-based training with them. And I had basic knowledge of it because I've been in the swimming world for so long. But they was like, no, let train us in the gym. So I was like, okay, I'll do my qualification. And I'm grateful to them that they wanted me to do it, because when the pandemic hit, I wouldn't have been able to continue helping clients unless they had a paddling pool or a swimming pool, because I couldn't do any teaching whatsoever through the pandemic.
Quite limited. Quite limited,
Hmm.
right?
Yep. So as soon as that we was allowed to go to parks and things like that, I mean, I used to have to walk at 5 a.m. because I'm classed as high risk, and so is my father. I wasn't allowed out of the house unless it was like 5 a.m. because then there was no one else about. I could walk.
Wow.
It was more of a. I suppose it was a conscious thing because my dad's super high risk and I'm semi high risk. That didn't want to be
Yeah.
around people, but I'm quite fortunate. I've got massive country parks near where I live, so we could go for an early morning walk. The only things that were out were the geese, but no humans. So,
Yeah,
how did you
I can
find the
imagine
pandemic?
that. So so weird. So my flat got burnt down in January.
Of
No, no,
the
no, no,
pandemic
no.
year?
My Just before the pandemic started. So the pandemic kind of started. I had an inkling in November time, before
Yeah.
we were officially locked down in April time, and my
Mhm.
flat got burnt down. I think November, December time, and
Jeez.
then
The
I think
19 that you had an inkling.
in November 19, I had an inkling, and I think during November time, my flat got burnt down, and we all moved to my mother-in-law's house because it was just closer to my workplace and close to my
Okay.
wife's workplace, so it just made sense to stay there.
Yeah.
And so we were lucky that literally we were in a house full of like a massive family. I had my mother-in-law there, my brother-in-laws, two of my brother-in-laws, my sister-in-laws. Everyone
Oh
lived in one
wow.
house. My wife, my newborn baby as well,
Oh geez.
my daughter, father-in-law, a cat. So we were all in one house. So and I think, and that's in a strange time like that where it's very
Mm.
different, like same situation as you, like because I was around people all the time. It definitely helped. I think it definitely helped. Not saying that I don't enjoy the company of my wife or my kids, but just saying I think in that kind of situation, it's nicer and there's a feeling of like a tribal feeling
Oh yeah.
being together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was quite lucky when I think in hindsight when I look at it that way, quite
Yeah.
lucky. It didn't stop me from like none of us were high risk or anything, so it didn't stop me from like going out for walks and stuff. Like I never used to, which was interesting. I used to just be like a gym guy. I used to just go to the gym and stuff like that. But then like I was
Mm.
like, wow, there's birds and bees out here. You know what I mean? Like
There's
going
nature.
outside. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I am a nature kind of person, but I never thought about it too much. But I guess when the pandemic hit and everyone was in lockdown, I guess I appreciated things that were free. So
Yes.
just going to like a local park that was close to my mother-in-law's house, and it was summer, and me and my daughter would just be me and my daughter who just go and we just go for long walks and just like I've got pictures and everything. So when I look back, I was like, oh man, do you know what? That was
Yeah.
nice having like some close father-daughter bond.
Yeah, of course. Because it gave you the opportunity and even for so was you still working through the pandemic or was you what did they
So
call it?
I was put on furlough.
Yes, that's it, furlough.
I was put on furlough. I think like 80% of the time,
Oh,
and then
okay.
yeah, so 20% of the time we were working. So it was,
What did you
I
do
mean,
then?
we
What was
were.
your job?
I was administrator. I was a learning and development officer, and I was a
Hmm.
new hire rep. Something like this happens. What kind of work or jobs are out there that keep on carrying on? And it was like a builder, carpenter,
Mm.
because they're still working and they're still getting the job done. So I thought
Yeah.
that was quite interesting because my friend, he's an optometrist, and he was like, he regrets being an optometrist because
Yeah.
in his line of work, he could make no money.
No, because you couldn't social distance. So I was fortunate with the personal training. I think maybe it was the maybe the July or the August of 2020. Um, a lot of my just the members of the clients that I used to know from my years spanning in the health industry, they wanted to
Yeah.
know if I was doing anything outdoors, and that's where my outdoor boot camps come into place. And I've been doing them since 2020. And
Wow.
yes,
They look so cool, by the way. I love them. I'm like, look at is that outside your front house?
that's the thing. It wasn't originally, much to my mum's displeasure that it is now. Um, it used to be over one of the local parks because obviously, we could only socially distance. So I went and got Dettol wipes, Dettol spray. I had stations that were all, what was it, 2 meters apart. And
Yeah.
it was just word of mouth to start with. Like people that knew me, they would come. And I think it got up to like 30, 40 people.
Wow.
Hmm. And that was all
Amazing.
different
Amazing.
space. Like, so I used to put two classes on to obviously keep the number separate. And I just have the gaps. And it's been going since then. And I've got some people that I'd say probably half of the people that still come were the ones that started coming in 2020. And yes, I moved it to my front drive just purely for lighting purposes because of the winter. I can't see
I
nothing in the park. It's pitch black.
was about to say, for the listeners that don't know, if you go to
Yes,
Lowell's Instagram page, they will see all the boot camps that happen
yes.
in front of your house. And I'm like, wow, this is one way of getting everyone together.
Oh yeah, and it is a. I'm very much on community. I arrange like hikes and walks since I think 2021 maybe no 2020 2021 or 2022. I started arranging like a monthly hike or walk where I'd find a location and it would probably be about 10 miles. We'd have somewhere where we stop in the middle, have a break, have food, and then walk back. And I mean, it is all ages. I mean, I think the lowest I had was probably my 8-year-old nephew, and the oldest that comes on the walks is 73. And we just go as a group, we go for our little hikes. The fur babies come occasionally, it depends on the weather, but it's a community. That's my main thing, and that's why I think me and Ash click so well because we like to build communities and support a community rather than trying to take people away from it. We want to build on what they already know and what they do. So yeah, it's a community
Yeah.
feel, and it's Laul's Fit on Instagram.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll put that in on
Thank you.
the thing.
Because no one can pronounce my
So,
name unless you're from East London. You have no idea how to pronounce my name.
Lowell, right? How am I saying that correctly?
Where
Lowell,
Where are you from? Hold on.
Birmingham.
Ah, yeah, that's why. Uh, so most northern places say lol as in lol. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
say
it did sound like that to me.
that's the way that people, and that's fine. If you're east, it's lol. It is lol, so it does sound like lol, but it's an East London thing. That's a shortened version of Lauren. Yes, that would be why.
Right. Well, I was actually born in London. That's my claim to fame.
Oh, really? But you've
Yeah.
lost the accent, so you can't claim it. This will be the nail in the coffin. Who do you support football wise?
Ooh, Manchester United.
How?
How? Well, my cousin, who was from Catford, Lewisham, he used to get me like Man United stuff. I guess he was a glory hunter at the time, and I'm just stuck with it. He
Yeah,
supports
and you're a
Tottenham
massive,
now.
but you're a massive glory hunter because you're
No,
from
but
South
I'm
London.
Man United through and through.
No, no,
Yeah.
you're not. Because sorry,
I've
do you
been to
live?
the games.
You might have been.
I've been to the games. My
Have
second team is Aston Villa for the record. My
oh,
second team is Aston Villa.
okay, fine. I'll let you have it, but you're still a glory hunter.
Well, we're gonna have to have another podcast about that because that's gonna be a long one. Also, again, it's just like yourself. It's about helping people because I just feel like there's so much misinformation out there, which is referred to as
Massively.
quite common these days. And like, I'm doing a course right now with Cornell University, and like when I even when, especially the elderly, like when I look at my family who are on the older side of life, like they're taking all this medication for
Be
osteoporosis and stuff
careful
like
if
that.
you're
And
talking about your elder family and they watch your podcast. Be careful what ones you class an
well,
elder there.
if the shoe fits, then that's what the word is, isn't it? If like it just got to a point where I was like, wow, like even just like weight training, resistant training is good for
Hmm.
bones, and like no one is doing that I
Yeah.
see in my side of the world. So if I can help people that way, then that's for me that is mission accomplished to
Yeah.
an extent. But the thing is, there's a big things like, oh, now weight training is gonna make me big and bulky. And I was like, there's another misconception there as well. Especially when I find the women in my family, they're like, nah, I'm not gonna do weights.
Hmm.
I was like, so it's like, okay, so now I'm kind of on a mission where I'm gonna learn everything.
Yeah.
And again, just because I do one course, it doesn't necessarily mean I know everything and it's
No.
done. I realized that
Mhm.
when I did my nutrition consultancy course,
Yes.
and once I get my PT course done, I'll know the fundamentals. I hope, and then take it from there, and then start, and then take it from there. So I'm really looking forward to doing it. I don't have the time to do it right now, but I'm going to start it next year because I'm just going to do it one step at a time. I'm going to do the courses that I'm going to do this year. They're going to be finished by December, and then I'll start next year. I guess what they don't tell you is like once you do the qualification, it doesn't mean straight away like you'll be getting clients straight away. So what was your journey like? Because obviously you said you worked in Virgin Active, and then you
Um.
did a PT course, and then because obviously promoting yourself and getting the word out is a big thing.
Yes. And to be honest, I was very, very fortunate in my. Don't get me wrong. I've worked at different gym exercise places. But the start of my journey was very, I suppose, smooth and quite easy compared to most personal trainers that start out, just because I already had a client base from Walter that wanted to come over to the gym. So, I had that, let's say I had, I think, probably about 10 people that wanted to do both. So it gave me that client base that people then see me in the gym. They see that I was training people, and then you just start to speak to people more, and it's more word of mouth. I still have clients from my days back then that I still see now. And
Wow.
when did I start? Maybe like 2015, even earlier. I still see people from then because you don't necessarily. I mean, the concept of a personal trainer is normally like you want to get to a certain goal and then you want to say bye. But I think it's kind of evolved now more into someone to push you, to direct you. It's also like kind of like a therapy session when you're in training. You need to be
Yeah.
able to get some stuff out to vent. A lot of people use exercise for their mental health, for their mental well-being, and you find that a lot of people find it like if they don't go to do what they regularly do, like if it's a walk, a run, anything, they don't do it. It affects their emotional state, their emotional well-being, rather than just their physical well-being. And I think that's what personal training has become more of now, is more of a well-rounded delivery
Yeah.
system rather than we're here to make you look like a supermodel or look like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, it's a more holistic approach by the sounds of it.
Yes. And the same reason, like, you asked me earlier about like my passion of being a director of the wellness side of things for Ash, because as you witness your friends and your family, they struggle with conditions, health issues, and that's fueled more for me. One, because I also suffer with some myself, so it was more of a research base of what could help me, because a lot of things I was doing conventionally wasn't helping. And I want to be able to support and guide people that are facing difficulties that they need to overcome, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. To ask you, what's your view on hidden disabilities?
I look generally like your average human, but I have an autoimmune condition because it's on the inside, you can't see it. I mean, it's a lot broader now because people do respect that there are hidden disabilities and you can't always see if someone has a disability. It's a lot more widely spoken about. Um, but people also assume that because you look like the average person, that you don't have a particular struggle or find certain things difficult or have hardships. I have a client who asked me recently if I thought it was a good idea if he become a personal trainer. Um, and he trains, he goes to the gym on his own, he comes to my boot camps, and he suffers with cerebral palsy. So he said, but would that not like hold me back or hold my clients back? And I said, no. As many of his friends told him, it's his superpower because you understand people differently. You understand the way movement is and because I can't, I mean, I'm a personal trainer. Compound movements for me are shocking. They are so bad.
Oh,
I
really? What
squat
do you
like a
mean
90-year old.
shocking?
I squat like a 90-year-old woman.
Oh, by the way, if you could let the
Yes.
listeners know what is cerebral palsy?
Come back to that question, because I've got to get the
Okay.
right definition for that, because I do know a few people, but I don't
Okay.
want to get that one wrong. Um,
Okay.
but he was just like not sure if he was going to be any good as a personal trainer. But if you understand, like you said, you're going to learn the fundamentals of training and teaching and so on. As long as you have a passion for what you do and there's a reason why you're doing it, not just because you want to make money, it's that's what drives you. That's your motivation. That's the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Does that make
You're
sense?
so right, by the way. Yeah, because like, do you know how many people come and say to me, "Why are you doing a podcast? You're not getting paid for it."
Yep.
And then, my answer was that I was like, "Well, I actually love doing it, and I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's work." And they're like, "Oh, I wish I was like that." I was like, "I'm
But
passionate about this, so it is quite easy for me to do this. I don't find it draining. I don't find it like a chore. I'm like interested in what my guest has to say, and then I'm going to spread that all over
Yeah,
the
of
world
course.
online.
And when you talk to different people from different walks of life, you learn new things. I'm a big believer in continual learning, not just in a professional capacity, but just learning about other people, learning about their culture, their upbringing, what they're passionate about. And that's what helps. Back to your original question of cerebral palsy.
So, yeah.
It's a spectrum, cerebral palsy. It's not one size fits all. So you can have one with slight cerebral palsy, and then you have someone that has quite severe cerebral palsy and they can't walk. But you get some people that can walk, but it's the movement disorder. So it's tremors, muscle weakness, stiff muscles, and that's the issue. I mean, he does running. He used to play football, but he was worried that he wouldn't be able to give his clients everything they needed. I can't demonstrate a squat to save my life. I can do it, but it looks a bit dodgy. But as I said to him, as long as you can talk through the exercise and your descriptive words of how you want someone to do something. And again, like I said, it's you're teaching people that you're not sitting in a box. I worked with a young man that had I believe it was epilepsy. I'm not 100% sure on his story. And you might actually want to get him on your podcast for a health podcast because he's a personal trainer, a very successful personal trainer. And if I'm right, he had I don't know if he can't use half of his brain now. He had a fit and he's lost half of his brain. I will send you his details
Yeah,
because
yeah, please do.
he's an inspiration. He pushes through everything. I don't know if it was a case of they never thought he'd walk again, but he's a personal trainer and he really pushes forward with it. And I think he's a spokesperson for Great Ormond Street because he was a child when it happened. Um,
Wow.
he trains people boxing. He just does like the glove one hand. There's always a way of doing things, and I think society as a whole make people think there's limitations to what they can do. You're set in a little box and that's where you live. And that's not, you never have to have one box. You can have many different hats.
There was a post by someone I did a podcast with last week. Her name's
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Kushmark. And she said that when plan A doesn't work, there's a whole other alphabet to go through.
Yep. And I think a lot of
And I thought,
people are taught to stick with plan A. That's your plan. That's your career path. That's what you've studied at university. I don't have just one passion. I think a lot of people, you're pigeonholed. That's your passion. That's what you should be doing. Why? Why can't you have more than one passion? Why can't you explore different things and find passions no matter what time in life that you find them? I thought I was going to be a spy
exactly.
ninja. That was my passion until I was probably about 12. I was going to be a ninja that was a spy,
Yeah.
like James Bond. That
Mm-hmm.
was my passion.
What is your favorite workout?
Depends on the day. For multiple reasons, mood. And also it depends on what my body's feeling like. If my body's not very happy with me, um, at the moment, I've got really into it, thanks to one of my clients, actually. He had a mountain bike that was a bit too big for him, and I'm a tall individual, so I could adopt the mountain bike. I've got a road bike, but
How,
I borrowed his mountain
how
bike,
tall are you?
5'10".
Oh, wow. You're taller
And the
than
person,
me. I think
how
we're
tall are
almost the
you?
same height.
Go on, how tall are you?
5'9¾". Who's counting? Who's
Hey,
counting?
hey, I'm friends with Ash. That should just tell you everything. I like abusing my little friend.
um,
He's tiny. Cycling. I'd say
yeah,
cycling because it's the one I can do no matter what body part is not wanting to participate in the day or how much pain I'm in. I can cycle and I like it. It's very
that's
therapeutic.
definitely a fact because like most of the videos are you just cycling throughout the mornings and
Yes,
the evenings, isn't it?
yes.
I love it.
It's a bit my road bike because it's set differently. When you're on a road bike, you sit like at that angle, but because of my
Hmm.
hip, that's very uncomfortable. I do it; it's uncomfortable. But now I have the mountain bike. I'm like, oh, freedom! I'll go on a 10-mile bike ride just because walking and bike riding. But I quite like strength circuits. If my body is cooperating, shall we say, then I like a strength
Yeah,
circuit. My least favourite is pretty much any compound movement because my body does not cooperate on these and it does not want to do them properly. And as a personal
that's
trainer, when you
interesting.
can't do an exercise properly, it's very infuriating. I know why I can't do it properly.
Why is that
Every one
then?
of my clients, because I've had hip replacement, number one. So it's my range of movement in my left hip is shockingly bad. Everywhere else I'm hypermobile except for my left hip. So I have hypermobility
Okay.
and I have something called ankylosing spondylitis.
Wow, that's
So
inflammation then.
yes, it is. That's the autoimmune condition, hence what made me semi-high risk. Um, I've always been super active my whole life. I've had the hip thing since birth. They replaced my hip when I was a baby, and then again when I was 21. Um, the Ank Bond is probably the more challenging because it kind of just has its own mood, if that makes sense. It has flares,
Yeah.
and when it's in a flare, my body does not like cooperating in any sense of the word.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably a sign to be like, okay, let's just relax for a bit.
Yeah, but see, I'm a fidgety person. I
You're
like
what,
sitting
sorry?
still. I'm a fidgety person. I don't like sitting still.
Yeah, same here. Like my wife, she would be like, "Oh, let's go on a spa day to relax," and we went. We've been like twice, and I was like, "So, what'd you do here then?" She's like,
Yeah,
"We'll just sit here and do nothing." I was like, "What? Sit here
is
and
there
do
nothing to
nothing?" I was like,
do?
"Is there like a gym upstairs or something?" Like, she's like, "Yeah, you can go there." Now we don't go together anymore. We just don't go because she's like, it's not your thing. I was like, yeah, I mean, it is nice. Don't get me wrong. We went to the sauna. There's a steam
Hmm.
room. There's a swim pool. There's a swim pool. And after I'm done that, it's like, okay, I want to go for a run or something. Got a quick bonus round for you. So I
Oh,
want
okay.
quick
We're doing a
answers.
bonus round. Oh, Lord. Okay, go on then.
Quick answers, yeah. All right. What's your first job?
Lifeguard.
Your favorite breakfast?
Oh, shite. Avocado on toast.
Your go-to cheat meal?
My go-to cheat, right? So I don't have cheat meals, but my go-to cheat will be cereal, any kind of cereal,
The best feeling in the world?
helping others, helping them in any. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just helping.
What's the best advice you've ever heard?
Um, if you don't fail, you're not even trying.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's like if you don't fail, then you're not going to learn from it, are you?
Nope. And failures are not. They're not where you stop. That's not the end of your journey. You just have to adjust and continue.
Yeah, because whenever I've seen this many times, like whenever someone has like an objective or a goal to hit, it's not always going to be like a straight line going straight
No.
towards it. There's going to be like ups and downs. Like I'll give you an example, perfect example. Thursday, I had a podcast lined up. I had to cancel it because all this happened all in the same day. We bought a new kitten
Uh,
on Wednesday. Yeah, but she's just been having. I'll tell you once you finish your drink. She's been having like loose stools ever since. So it's literally like looking after a baby. Like literally, that's one thing. The car broke down.
nice.
The
Always,
car broke
always
down.
helpful.
So and then like everything just kind of like fell apart in one day. So it's like I was like, okay, I'm going to cancel the podcast. Going to postpone it for another day. I'm going to take a breather, and I'll sort out everything. For the next couple of days, and it's been easier now. But it's like these things can happen. It's like you got so many things you want to do, and I've got a course that I need to do as well that I need to finish before Tuesday. So
Oh,
yeah,
what course is
yeah.
that?
It's with Cornell University. I'm the Cornell course, so you get a
Okay.
certificate at the end. So you need to do 6 modules to get the certificate. I've
Mhm.
done this is my fifth. I'm on my fifth one now. It's crazy. I started in January and now I'm on number 5. So I'm nearly
Nice.
there. And it's basically about just health and wellness and nutrition all in one
Okay.
go.
Cool.
So yeah, quite expensive. It was like 3 grand.
Oh, geez.
What's your favorite Marvel movie then?
Oh no, that's a mood dependent thing. Favorite Marvel character? You'd think would be Loki, but I think my favorite Marvel character is Tony. Tony Stark. Oh no,
Tony
Groot.
Stark.
Groot. I like Groot. If I
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
just have Groot's language of I am Groot, I would be happy. It means I don't have to talk to people.
Or have Vin Diesel's job of being Groot because he's
I
just getting
know.
paid.
Oh my god,
Say,
he got paid so much money.
I'm Groot.
He got paid so much
I don't know
money.
how much. I don't know how much it is, but it's gonna be a lot.
Oh God, yeah. Did you know that Bradley Cooper, just veering off really quickly, he didn't do, Rocket. Obviously, they wear the little
Yeah.
animatronic. It wasn't him doing it. He just does the voice.
What
That's
do you
it.
mean? Yeah, no,
So
yeah, I thought so. Like,
the little
so it's
character,
also it's not actually him physically.
no, like they wear the green dotty things and they walk around doing it. Andy Serkis is one that does most of them. Like he does Gollum and Planet of the Apes, Caesar.
Hmm.
Um, he didn't do any of it.
Wow. So all
You
he
know
does is the
the
voice.
actor that plays Yondu's second in command, the skinny guy. His name's Sean Gunn. He does all of it.
Okay.
He plays a role
Wow.
in Guardians of the Galaxy as one of the
Yeah.
piratey dudes. Um,
Hmm.
but he does all of Rocket's bodywork.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
And do you know what? When I found out it was Bradley Cooper, like how is
It
he? He
doesn't
doesn't sound
sound
anything
like
like him.
him.
It doesn't
No. I
sound
mean,
anything like him. So how have they done that? So obviously they clearly must have like enhanced the voice. But it's like, then what's the point of using Bradley Cooper if it doesn't sound like him? Like, what's the point of that?
yeah, but then he might have, because you can obviously learn how to do different voices. But yeah, I don't see how Bradley Cooper does Rocket in the slightest.
Hmm.
So is your kitten
What's
okay
your
now
favorite
after
Marvel
its
movie?
favorite
Oh,
Marvel
my
movie?
kitten.
Yes. After the explosive diarrhea, is it okay?
Well, I've only had her 3 days, so like it's not explosive. It's just leaking. Poor,
Oh,
poor
that's not
girl.
too
It's just
bad.
leaking.
Stop being such a drama queen about leaking diarrhea. If it's explosive, then you've got an issue on your hands.
Mate, if it's leaking around the house, then it is going to be a problem. But we're
Put a
quite lucky.
nappy
We've
on
got
her.
like a. Wait, that's what we did. That's what we did. So, so my wife's gone out yesterday, and she's got like the smallest nappies you could get, and she's
Yeah,
ripped a hole. She's cut a hole in there,
for the
and like
towel.
for the tail. And yeah, she's. I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a
There you go.
picture. But it's like it's the only way. It's the only way she can integrate with the family because it's like it's leaking everywhere. Now we've
Yeah,
got
of
a nappy on.
course.
At least she can play around and be around the house. But it's like
Most kittens, puppies that when they come to you, they have dodgy tummies anyway because it's a change of environment, change of food. They get a nervous belly. When I got
that's
Loki,
right.
he had a nervous belly. Didn't you, Bubba?
Oh yeah,
But he's fine. I mean, he had an operation last week. He lost one of his teeth. Oh, poor baby.
he lost.
But
Or,
one of
he
one
lost
of
his
his teeth,
teeth.
one of his teeth had to be taken
Oh,
out because he had an accident at the park.
oh, ouch.
Right, my favourite
Poor
Marvel
him. His,
movie. That's a question.
yeah. There's
Depends
so
on the
many.
mood.
Like if you yeah, because if you ask me, top of my head, I'll probably say was it Logan? Is that the last one? Logan, Wolverine? Which
Oh,
one? I
you're
can't
going.
remember the
Oh,
last
you're
one.
going that side of Marvel. Okay, you're going on a whole
Yeah,
nother
yeah,
branch. To be fair,
yeah, yeah. So there,
Hugh Jackman is a bit of a legend.
yeah, he is. He is. He's coming back as in Deadpool. I don't know how
I
that's gonna
know.
end up, but
What do you mean? He
I
still looks
hope it does
great.
well. No, no, as in like the movie and the storyline. I'm not.
True.
He's gonna look great. I know, and like because he's gonna wear like the yellow spandex, just like the cartoon. So it's gonna be
Oh,
look a bit
okay.
gimmicky.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They've already released images, so is it gonna look a bit gimmicky like the cartoons? Like, you know what I mean? So and he's gonna wear like the eye thing as well, where it's like it's coming
Oh,
out like
cool.
there. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, top of my head, I would say either Avengers Endgame because I just could watch that
That.
anytime and feel
Yeah, that was
good,
a very good film.
and or
Logan.
Logan if that was the
Logan's
last
quite.
if
It
that was the name
is.
of the last one.
Yeah, it was. It's quite dark, Logan.
Yeah, yeah,
See, I'm
I'll
a
say
bit
Logan.
nerdier
So
than
come
you.
on.
I'll go phase one, phase two, phase three.
You are proper Marvel fanatic.
My dog's called Loki. What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean to be fair, that's the thing. I said to my wife, "Oh, let's call the kitten like something from Marvel, something like that." But because she's a chocolate torty cat, we don't want to say Coco because it's so common. So we've stick to like Japanese names because we found them a
Which
bit
is.
cute. So her name's Yoko. Her name is.
Oh, okay. You know she broke the band up,
Yeah.
right? She's
Sorry.
infamous for breaking a band up. You've
Oh, is
given your
she?
kitten.
Which?
Who's the famous Yoko?
I don't know. You need to tell me. I'm lost.
The
Tell
Beatles.
me.
John Lennon's wife.
Oh, right. Because my wife's actually just come in earlier. She said, "Shall we call her popcorn?" I was like, "Why? Because her popcorn shit. Like, why?"
I
Shall I
mean, my
bring her?
dog.
Shall I show
Yeah,
you?
go
Shall I
get her.
show
Go
you?
get
Shall
her.
I show you her? Hold on one
Yeah, that's
sec.
the only time I'll ever see a cat is from a distance.
Here she is.
Oh, you little cutie pie. Oh, look at her little nappy.
There's that streak.
Oh, I can see. I can see the colouring.
Can you
Oh,
see the
she's so
nappy?
cute. Yeah, the nappy. She's.
Yeah. If you were to write a book, what would it be about?
Oh, it's meant to be quick fire. Crap. Discipline over motivation.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one because I think did you post that recently? Where it's
I
like
did.
you basically said,
Yes.
"Go on, if you could explain to everyone," because I'll put it up on the screen as well when I edit this.
Okay. Um, keep putting me on the spot over here, Omar, you little shit. Um, motivation's powerful
Why
as
is
in
why is so what is sorry, so why is discipline better than motivation?
um, because discipline provides structure and consistency when you need to make the progress, whereas motivation is that initial spark. You know, you can be motivated, right? I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week, but actually going to the gym 7 days a week, that first motivation is that first day of going to the gym and getting up. But where's that motivation in 3 or 4 days' time when you've had a really crappy night's sleep? You've had a lot to do that day. It's the discipline. If you make promises to yourself and other people, but don't break the promises to yourself. That's
Wow.
basically it.
Have
Yes,
you
that'd be what my
have
book's
you
about.
thought about have you thought about being a motivational speaker or a disciplinarian? Disciplinarian.
No, do you know what? You
Yeah.
should hear mine and Ash's conversations. We talk about the most random stuff and go off on tangents, but we ain't. So we started filming them, but we don't end up going on our tangents. And when we're not on our tangents, he's like, "Oh, I should be filming this. Why am I not filming this one? This one's so entertaining." I'm like, "Well, it's not my fault." We done the other day. We was on a call, and have you seen this
Yeah.
website called 16 Personalities? It's the test website that
No.
tells you what type of personality you are.
Wow. Okay. 16
I'll
personalities,
send
yeah?
you 16personalities.com.
Yeah.
And it tells, so Ash had done his and was sending me screenshots of what his personality type was like, and then we was doing mine whilst we was on this call. He was like showing me the screen, and I was answering the questions. And apparently, I'm a mediator. It means I'm altruistic and yada yada yada. I'm empathetic, generous, open-minded, creative, idealistic. She says. Um, well, but me and Ash's Ash and I's bitty bobs that we have, we're actually quite similar on a lot of them. Like, so it gives you, I'll send you a screenshot of
Yeah, yeah.
the profile. Can I do that? Why can't I do that? A second. Oh, no, Loki, what are you trying to crawl underneath my legs for? You're a big dog. But it tells you if you're introverted or extroverted, if you're an intuitive or observant, feeling or thinker.
Interesting.
So I'll send it to
How
you. It's
long is
actually
it to
really,
do?
oh, it's like, I think it took me and Ash 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad. I might share it to
No,
everyone in my
do you
groups.
know what you should? Because it kind of gives you an insight as to how you work as a human. And you kind of know, like, because me and Ash, when we used to do them as part of Virgin, it was quite, it was interesting to learn about yourself, to see where your weaknesses are, where your strengths lie. Because I think a lot of people, they try to fix their weaknesses rather than leaning into their strengths.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because we can't be all round, we can't be perfect in everything.
no,
Everyone's got their own strengths and weaknesses. Like if you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, he's great at scoring goals, but he's not great at tracking back.
but that's the thing is that especially in the corporate world, people try to focus on, okay, your weakness is this, you need to improve on doing this. But if you know, for instance, employee A is dead good at being attentive, detail orientated, getting things done on time, but employee B is thinks outside the box, you know, innovative and does all that, why do you not just play them to their
Mm.
strengths rather than
Yeah.
trying to conform them to what they're not fantastic at? Because it always makes people feel, I don't know, stupid, silly, inferior, like they're weak at something, they're not good enough. But you're not meant to be good at everything. That's the reason why you have talents. That's why you have passions. That's why you learn how to do things.
And that's what we're all so different.
Hmm? That's why we're unique. That's why we're human beings.
That's it. That's it. All right. The last bonus round question. Finish the phrase. The way to a healthy body is. So finish the
Uh,
phrase. The way to a healthy body is.
Training with Laul's Fit. Joking.
That's good. That's it. That can be the
No.
answer. That can be the answer. I'm taking it. You've already said it. You've already said it. You've already said it. That's it. That's it. All right.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. But I'm going to finish up now because we're hitting
Yep.
an hour.
Yep. Before you run
What
away though,
does.
can I put the you know when we was talking about the wellness corporate side of things, can I just put a bit
Yeah.
on there about if someone's interested in becoming part of it, whether they're a
Yeah.
company or an individual that want to be a part of the wellness days, just contact
Yeah.
Wellfinity. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Definitely. That's
Okay.
cool. And
Right.
you can breathe.
Okay.
Come on. Let's hear it. Yeah. Go on. So, what does health mean to you?
Well, I think health is it's a multifaceted concept that encompasses physical, mental, and social well-being. It's more than sickness and illness and disease. I think I think people look at health more like it's if you're not sick, you're healthy, but that's not necessarily the case. It's the state of your vitality and your wellness and how you feel in yourself. So it's a continual improvement of the quality of life. Health is a continual improvement of quality of life, not just, oh, I've not been sick this week, I've not been sick this month. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's your answer. So, if it made sense to you, that's it.
It doesn't mean it necessarily makes sense. There's a lot of things in his head that don't make sense out loud.
And where can people find you?
They can find me at Laul's Fit on Instagram and Facebook, and through Wellfinity's website. There's email addresses on there.
Okay, brilliant. And what kind of advice would you give to any upcoming online coach?
As we said before, find your passion, find your reason why. Don't let it be just because it's a convenient, easy job, because you'll never succeed. That's in all aspects of. Doesn't have to be a personal trainer. It's any job that you do. If it's convenient
Yeah.
and easy, that's not going to always work for you because it's not a convenient and easy job. There's quiet times. It's a challenging job. It's something you need to be
Hmm.
passionate about, and it doesn't have to necessarily be the same passion throughout your entire career. Mine obviously started because of swimming, and then it went into triathletes, and then it went into people with disabilities, and now it's just about making a community and enriching people. So find what you enjoy about it, and then run with that.
Almost like starting your own tribe.
Yeah, we need more tribes. People need people. As much as people don't necessarily want to need people, people need people. As they
Yeah,
say, it takes a
definitely.
village.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Hmm.
Lol, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to put this on, and once I put it on, all the snippets you'll see it. I'm sure, just like
Oh
you've
Lord.
been seeing the recent ones.
Oh Lord. You're lucky I weren't wearing
Right?
sunglasses. I had sunglasses prepared to be wearing for this. I'm very camera shy.
Oh, are you?
Yes, dead camera shy. And Ash even
Okay,
made me film behind this on my camera so that he can have a copy of it so that he can snippet things from it.
brilliant, brilliant.
No, not
All right,
brilliant.
cool. So,
Torturous.
right, all right. You enjoy the rest of
Thank you
your
so much
Sunday,
for
all right?
today. Really appreciate it, and thank you. It was really good fun.